This is Pikachu, a Pokemon who, like most of his Pocket Monster pals, loves friendship, teamwork, and not harvesting the souls of dead children. We say most because spend some time digging into the backstories of these cutesy characters and you'll quickly learn that there's a much darker side to this colourful creature collecting franchise. One filled with curses, horrible ways to die, existential terror, and the consumption of human souls. Is that you, Pikachu? What's wrong with your face? Here are just some of the Pokemon backstories that will haunt your dreams forever. Apologies in advance.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Drifloon!
Oh my god, what's that on his face?
Far be it from me to suggest that the Pokemon based around inanimate objects are somehow worse than the animal-based ones, but let's not forget that this is a category that includes the one that looks like a bag of rubbish and the one that looks like a set of keys. Still, they're not all terrible, as evidenced by balloon Pokemon Drifloon. Look at it, with its cute balloon face and little mop of cloud hair and its mouth is taped shut, that's a bit weird, but still, this is a Pokemon you'd feel comfortable leaving around the many unsupervised children that seem to be running around all over the place in the various Pokemon games. Turns out, however, that that's the absolute worst possible thing you can do, because according to its Pokedex entry, Drifloon is a balloon that also has a sideline in child murder. Because of its balloon-like appearance, Drifloon is apparently able to lure children into grabbing it, at which point it grabs them back and, according to Pokemon Sun, drags them away into the afterlife. Jeez, Pokemon, that's the worst thing I've ever... Oh wait, there's a Pokemon Moon Pokedex entry. Let's see what that says. If for some reason its body bursts, its soul spills out with a screaming sound. Okay, I take it back. That's the worst thing I've ever read. Apparently it dislikes heavy people due to them being harder to kidnap and murder. Hi, yeah, I was just wondering if you had any steel toe cap boots? Oh, brilliant. What are your lead-lined jackets like? Great, and sandbags? Cool. How soon can you get those in? Because just as soon as possible.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Beware, Jesus Christ.
This is Stuffle, a new Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Sun and Moon that resembles nothing so much as an adorable stuffed bear. Because it's so cute, Stuffles are very popular. Unfortunately, they appear to dislike being touched and will flail wildly if approached by a stranger. Stuffles are also abnormally strong for their size, so a stray hit could send a grown trainer flying. When they're that size, it's not so much of a problem, but when Stuffle evolves into Beware, that's when things start getting horrifying. For a start, Beware's height is listed as 6'11" and its weight at 298 pounds, which if you're keeping track, are very close to the stats of wrestling legend The Undertaker. In addition to this newfound height, Beware also seems to have lost its aversion to human contact. The bad news is it's now really into hugging and apparently totally unaware of its own strength. As Pokemon Moon's Pokedex entry for Beware puts it, this Pokemon has the habit of hugging its companions. Many trainers have left this world after their spines were squashed by its hug. Kind of a throwaway reference there to the fact that the Pokemon Beware has murdered loads of Pokemon trainers by hugging them until it broke their spines, all the while maintaining that blank glassy expression I expect. Beware here is short for Beware the hell is the train out of town because I'm moving to Animal Crossing.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Bayonet!
Oh god, those eyes!
What is up with the zip?
As children, we all imagine our favourite toys coming to life. What would this plush Totoro say if it could talk, I wonder? Well, thank you. Just a quick blow dry and some wax. Honestly, I always say you sculpt with the hairdryer. But if you really want to know what your favourite toys get up to when you're finished playing with them, look no further than Bayonet, a ghost-type creature whose lizard eyes and zipper mouth are somehow the least horrifying thing about it. See, according to Bayonet's Pokemon Emerald Pokedex entry, an abandoned plush doll became this Pokemon. They are said to live in garbage dumps and wander about in search of the children that threw them away. In other words, Bayonet is your favourite childhood toy, but now living in landfill and bearing a furious grudge towards you, the thrower-awayer. So thanks Pokemon for putting that unerasable image in all of our heads. Other bits of Pokemon lore describe Bayonet pushing pins into its own body to create strong curses, and using that zipper mouth to contain its evil energy, so you'd seriously better hope it never catches up with you to wreak its terrible vengeance. And if those dozens of Beanie Babies I threw away are watching, I'd like to say I'm sorry, I needed the shelf space, and if you'd like to discuss it further, I live inside this active volcano in South America.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Yamask!
Oh no!
Yamask is a ghost-type Pokemon that carries around an expressionless mask with it at all times, which is already pretty creepy. I mean, do I even want to know, Pokedex? Apparently I do, because here I am reading Yamask's entry, and it turns out the mask is of the face it used to have when it was an alive human, and now I'm going to lock all the doors and be right back. Yamask will often look at the mask and start crying, which, I mean, that's gotta be a real downer if you throw him out in the middle of an exciting Pokemon battle. Still better than if you decide to put the mask on yourself, because if you do that, you get possessed by the Yamask and then have to roam the earth as a sobbing revenant, and for God's sake, what is it with the parents in Pokemon games who are sending their unsupervised kids out into a world filled with these kind of terrifying monsters? Don't think things will be better if you evolve it either. At level 34, Yamask evolves into Cophagregious, which is a sentient sarcophagus with grabby hands and a mouthful of fangs that grabs people who get too close, pulls them inside its coffin body, and turns them into mummies. Seriously though, every parent in the Pokemon games should be in prison.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's
Palisand.
a sand
Palisand.
castle. Palisand. It's Palisand.
Come on, Andy, God.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a sandcastle. There's no possible way they could make that creepy. And what reason would they have for doing so? And that is why you don't work at the Pokemon Company, my friend, because buckle up and check this shit out. Yes, Sandygast and its evolved form Palisand look like regular sandcastles, but unsuspecting people who approach it end up falling under its control. Once possessed, these victims add sand to Palisand's body, making it bigger and more dangerous. This in turn makes its power to curse stronger until, presumably, the entire beach is just one massive sandcastle waiting to hex passers-by. Of course, it wouldn't be a Pokedex entry without some additional horrifying detail, and so we turn to Palisand's Moon Dex entry, which informs us that buried beneath the castle are masses of dried up bones from those whose vitality it's drained, as illustrated by this charming artist's impression of it murdering a Pikachu. Not being funny or anything, but does someone want to go over and check on the Pokemon team? You know, just make sure they're all alright? Getting enough fresh air? We're worried about you guys, seriously.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's
Kamala! It's quite cute. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
What's it doing to that log?
By this point, you've probably realised that many Pokemon are a bottomless well of horrors, so if you're smart, you'll only want ones in your squad that are A, small, and B, fluffy. And they don't come smaller, or indeed fluffier, than Kamala, the 40cm tall koala Pokemon found in Pokemon Sun and Moon, everything about whom is almost painfully cute. I mean, just look at it. It makes real koalas look like trash. Owners of Pokemon Moon will find a reassuringly adorable Pokedex entry for Kamala, one that describes how this soft bundle of hugs has a present from its mum and dad and loves to hug your arm. Adorbs, but I actually have Pokemon Sun, so let's see what cute info we can find. What? According to Sun's Pokedex, Kamala is born asleep and it dies asleep. All its movements are apparently no more than the result of it tossing and turning in its dreams. Yes, from the moment it's born to its eventual demise, Kamala is never conscious, trapped instead inside its own dreams, unable to wake up, giving only the impression of life from its comatose movements. What's even creepier is that the dreaming Kamala must surely believe itself to be awake, reminding us of the impossibility of knowing for sure that anything we see or experience is real at all. Are we dreaming like Kamala? Is it too far even to suppose Kamala's Pokedex entry may be a message from our subconscious trying to tell us to wake up? No more Pokemon today.
Who's that Pokemon?
Jesus, what
Something wearing Pikachu's skin!
Hero worship can be an ugly, ugly thing, as Luke's outside Xbox fanfiction can prove. Mine's way better. And that's never more true than when your hero is adorable king of the Pokemon, Pikachu, the fluffy electric mouse who became the breakout star of Pokemon Red and Blue back in the 90s, and whose cherry red cheeks have become a fixture of pop culture since. It's hard to know how you'd even begin trying to achieve the level of success that Pikachu has, but I guess you'd start by tying a filthy bag over your head. Such is the tactic employed by Mimikyu, the famously lonely Pokemon who dresses in rags that are painted to look like Pikachu, or what a child who's being haunted by Pikachu would draw over and over again in their maths book. Mimikyu certainly looks like the stuff of nightmares, but believe it or not, what is underneath those rags is canonically even worse. As the Pokemon Sun Pokedex explains, a scholar who saw what was under its rag was overwhelmed by terror and died from the shock. Mercifully, we never see Mimikyu's fatally horrible true form, but we are afforded glimpses of some kind of black tendril that occasionally lashes out in battle, hinting at a truly unknowable horror beneath that sackcloth disguise, which, by the way, can be broken with a well-placed attack, at which point Mimikyu's false head rolls broken to one side, upsetting everyone. Despite being a total horror show, Pokémon fans have really fallen for Mimikyu, whose misguided attempts to be popular we can all relate to on some level. Won't be long till I have all the bits I need for my Andy Farrant disguise. Then we'll see who's the big famous YouTuber.
They don't see my shoes!
So those were some of the Pokemon backstories that ensure that we will never, ever, ever sleep again. How about you, Pikachu? Were you suitably unsettled? Yes, he seems to say. But what else is that, Pikachu? You think that if you enjoyed this, then there are other videos to watch? Well, yes, I would have to agree. And what's that? You say that, oh, they're here on screen. That's amazing. How did you know, Pikachu? You seem to know an awful lot. And what's that? Also, you should subscribe if you enjoyed this, and there's a special button for doing that. And also, what's that? No, how do you know these things? No, I've never told anyone that. Thanks for watching, guys.